Do you remember your dreams? Do you remember your dreams? Now, when I bring this up, I want you to understand that I think I've always been a dreamer. So it's always these thoughts where I could be a dreamer, and I know that I did it when I was really, really young, had imaginary friends. But there was always these things that I would do. It's like it didn't make a difference if I was building a motorcycle or if I was building a car or whatever. I always had this thought that, man, it's going to be amazing when I'm doing this on a professional level. And I can't wait to move to California so I'm around all the race cars. And then of course I met Terry and my incredible wife of 40 years now. Wow. And she says, I'm going with you. And so that was really awesome. We went out there, and every day we hardly had any money. We had a studio apartment. And so once we got out there, all of a sudden it's like, now what do we do? We don't really have any money. So I had a motorcycle, and what I did with that motorcycle, it was a rice burner, as we called them. And what we would do is drive the Canyon Road to Pinga Canyon Drive, all the way down to the ocean. And while we were down at the ocean, I just constantly just looked up and went, man, who lives in those homes? And it's like, I got to figure out what those people did. So when you're, especially living in a major city, but especially California, it's like you see all the exotic cars, you get to see all the amazing homes, you get to see a way that people live that's way, way, way different than the way that I grew up, right? And I just constantly would say, what are these people doing to earn income? And I always had that out in my mind. And so what really was amazing is that, when we're young, we have like this dream circle, right? And the circle's really, really, really big. We think about the income we could earn. We think about, having a nice home, and a nice area. We think about having, a nice car, maybe a nice car for our spouse and people that we love. And then we think about, going on vacations and where we're going to travel throughout the world. And it's amazing that uh you just keep building that dream circle. Then what happens is you do what you're told, you get educated. And then after you get educated, the next step is pretty obvious: go out and get a job, and then work your way up this corporate ladder. And a number of times that I was on these corporate ladders, I kept going up and going up. And then I would realize that, what? This the higher you get, the crazier this gets. And that's for me, that's not for everyone. But, an hourly rate now turned into a salary. And what a salary for the people that I hung around with, that meant that you didn't have any of your time. You're taking your work home with you. You got to get there before everybody else. You got to stay until everyone's done. And I was just going, man, is everybody anybody? And I remember one of my mentors did this to me. He said, Robert, the minute or the second that the alarm clock goes off, he says, I need you to count that hour. Count from that second. Because if you're commuting and getting ready for work, what would you be doing if you didn't have a job? And of course, this is if you were able to make enough money more than what you could do as a job, right? So then all of a sudden you're thinking about your commute work. You got to add those hours. And then when you're eating, breaks and having lunch away from people that you love, eating out of a brown paper bag, you got to count that hour. And then, of course, your commute work home. And then when you finally get, undressed or whatever and settled down, now you get to count what you earn. And another thing, I mean, how many hours you put in. So the other thing is when I added that up, I'm like, oh my God, that's 12 hours. That's 12 hours. And then all of a sudden he goes, okay, so let's take it again, right? And he goes, "What is your take home?" See, there's this game that they play where they actually call your income gross income. No, where'd that come from? Because it's gross. And so, you can't take your you can't take your your gross income because money goes to the government and to the city and to the all this stuff, right? So take your take home. So now I was looking at it that time. I remember it was like, whoa, $3,800. I was taking home. So he goes, great, take the $3,800 and divide it by 12. And I went, okay. And he goes, I don't remember. I'm going to do it quick on the calculator. I must have did something wrong here. So 3,500 divided by 12. Yeah, I'm doing something wrong. My math is all messed up because this it says this is $291 an hour. Oh no, I know what I'm doing. I got to divide. Hey, so you guys are watching right now. You do not have to be smart. Okay, 3,800. You guys are laughing. 3,800. Now I get to divide that by 30. All right, 30 days. There we go. And now that's 126, and then I get to divide that by 12 hours. Still not right. That says I'm making $10 an hour. But I think each and every one of you are getting the point, right? It was like, it's like I didn't own my own life. So I didn't have enough money left over to do nice things with Terry and I. And this was before Matt and Kyle came along. And it's like, wow, it's like I'm never gonna get ahead. I'm never gonna get ahead. And that's where I see the majority of the people today. Because what you do is you got this giant income circle, and then you got this small income circle, dream circle, income circle. So then what we do is we go, nah, that's stupid. Why would you want to get a new car? I'll just get a used car, and then I'll fix that up. Forget about vacation. You know what I mean? I can get a tent and just stay out in the woods someplace or over by the river, and then we go on. So that will be my vacation. And what about a home? It doesn't have to be a nice home, or maybe better than I don't get a home. Maybe what I need to do is I just got to rent. I'll just rent. And, I think that we can get away with one car instead of two cars for Terry and I. And what we do is we just keep making our our dream circle smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, it's not just that we made our dream circle smaller. Then what we do is we really do some awful things. Is we start realizing that we're not getting paid what we're worth. And we start giving up hope. And so what we do is then we start figuring out, I'm not going to do all this extra stuff. Promotions go to, family members or somebody else. And then all of a sudden we just go, you know what? I wonder, I'm just going to do the minimum. I am going to do the minimum amount of work. And you sort of get into a different game. Now, this game is all about, how little work can you really get away with? And I tell this story all the time about, man, I was excited about my first job. And I got there early. In fact, I drove the route from my house to see how long it would take me. There's no way I'd want to be late. And I got there early. I always stayed late. I took a very short lunch, I'm done eating, go back to work. And I just really had this work ethic that if I worked harder than anybody else, this would really get me someplace. And always around like 10 minutes to 5, I would see all of these people, mechanics that were hanging around the punch out clock, right? And I was like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? And they were already had new uniforms on for the new day. They are already cleaned up. Their tools are cleaned up. They're already in the and they're in their toolbox. So, probably really shut down about 4:30. And then I walked up there one day and I go, "What are you guys doing?" They said, "Well, you know what? You'll get it when you get your first paycheck." And I'm going, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, if you do over 40 hours, that's overtime. And when you earn overtime, the government takes 50% of your money." And I was like, "Well, so what? I still make more than you." But that got tiring. That got tiring. And the next thing I know, I'm doing what everybody else is doing. That's out of the Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And all of a sudden, you start acting the same way the people that you hang around with, and these are coworkers. I worked with them every day, and so now all of a sudden, it's like, hey, I don't need to be pushing this hard. And then the worst thing happened is I no longer were passionate about my job. I was no longer excited about my job. And then I fell into this thing, same stuff, different day. All of a sudden, I'm in this rut, and the description of a rut is, the grave with yeah, a grave with the ends knocked out. And yeah, just start day by day, just living life, and just basically said, don't need nice things in life. That's not for me. And yeah, just so I get it, man. When people reach out to me, and it's like, I don't think that I could do anything else. You know what I mean? What am I going to go to school? Because I really didn't have any options. What am I going to do? Am I going to go get an education for a degree for another kind of job, and then work at that corporate ladder and then work my way up? And so my dreams were like to be a crew chief one day, right? And then all of a sudden, at the time, this was really a traumatizing for me. But I then found out that it was a blessing in disguise. So I'm not, we're not paying attention. We take these wheels off a Toyota van, and it's the motor's in the front, and the driver sit over the motor. And it started to tip because it was front heavy. And I tried to stop it, and bingo. Now all of a sudden, it hyperextends my knee. I'm rushed to the ER. The ER doctor's telling me that it's like my knee's like in a tourniquet. It's internal bleeding, and he looks at me and he goes, "Are you a Toyota mechanic?" Yeah, oh, yeah, I got Bobby on my name tag here, and he said, "Wow, you won't be a mechanic anymore." He goes, "You really messed up your knee." He says it's going to be hard for you to support your weight. I thought my dreams were like nothing, and now I'm like, "What?" See, there's this phrase out there, if you're not grateful for what you have, and if you're not total in appreciation mode, man, when I was all of a sudden on workman's comp, now my pay's down to 900 a month. Man, 3,800 sound like a lot. You hear what I'm saying? And it's just like, wow. And so now all of a sudden I'm losing everything, They're taking away my motorcycle, they're taking away everything that I had. And now my dreams get smaller because now they're saying, like, hey, you know what? Um, I'm just telling you, you know what I mean? You're going to have to learn a new career. If you don't learn a new career, then we're going to stop paying you the 900 bucks. And I'm like, I got my electricity cut off. I took a small loan from a pawn shop on my used car. And man, talk about feeling hopeless and desperate and even suicidal. It was like, oh man. And all of a sudden, what happened is a friend called me. You can check out roberthollis.com/free and get a digital copy of my best-selling book from Amazon. It's also in Spanish and also on audio. And all of a sudden, he said to me, "I met this guy today. He showed me his check. It was attached to the stub in an envelope, and he says it was $62,000 for a month." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, he put together this training, this free training, and also this free marketing system." And he said, I'm telling you, he's looking for people that want to make six figures a year." And I said to him, "I want to meet him. I'll come pick you up." And what was amazing is when I hung around him instead of all the other people that I was hanging around at the time, he started making my dreams come true again. And he gave me a pathway and a way to be able to really, really do some wonderful things for myself, but basically from Terry and now my sons. And I'm telling you what, when that little crack in the armor or crack in the door, when I seen that sun, that little bit of light in the darkness, man, I ran through it wide open. And I was like, listen, and I don't want to live like I did before. It's like I'm done living that way. And so I remember the one of the first thoughts that I had in my mind is, first of all, I never ever imagined I could make 62,000 a month. Never. But I thought, God, what would $6,000 a month be? If I could make 10% of the money that he's making, that's $6,200. Holy cow, what would my life be like? So I didn't look at myself as being as smart or as talented as him. I just always remember asking him, just tell me what to do. Just tell me the minimum things that I need to do. And he said, you got to get excited that if you had this money, what would you do with it? Start getting into your imagination. And he says, I want you to really tap into that imagination again. And then he says very simply, you got to reach out to a lot of people. And, most people, majority of people don't want to change anything. They're stuck in that small income circle, with a small dream circle. And they've just lost hope. They don't have the ability to imagine anymore. They don't have the ability to remember what dreams they used to have. They just put them on the shelf. And I went, "Wow." And then the other thought that I had is I went, "Wow, if I can work 12 hours for somebody else, can I at least work 12 hours for if I work 12 hours for somebody else, why couldn't I, yeah, at least do 12 hours for me?" And that's the way that I put my mind into it. And for those of you out there that have a job, you know what I mean? Then, instead of getting a part-time job, why not learn something that you could do to start supplementing in this gig economy, where you can get involved for free and do nothing but share your affiliate link. And so my wife and I started, now she's my wife. That was one of my dreams. One of my dreams was, the basics, get my electricity turned on, get the landlord off of me, pay my payments to the pawn shop so I didn't get my car repoed, and start working myself out of debt. But one of my dreams was, wow, if I was one of those people that I really felt like if I wasn't making income, came from that generation that, got to go out and put your armor on and go slay the dragons and bring home, the meat. You're the provider for the family. And so if I couldn't provide, then I didn't feel like I was worthy to have a relationship with her. And so my dream was, wow, I want to go get a wedding ring and I want to, fly to Billings, Montana and beg her on my knees to say yes and marry me. And one of the things that I did is I said, not only am I going to marry you, but remember all those dreams that we used to have about, being close to the ocean and having a home down there. I'm going to do it. I'm gonna get you a reliable car. We're gonna always be able to have money to take care of our family. And we put our heads down and I went to work. And so there's so many dreams that my wife and I have been able to fulfill for not only us, but for our family. And then all of a sudden, one of those dreams are traveling. And so, to be able to spend 10 days, I think we spent 10 days in Hawaii on a lifestyle cruise ship from Norwegian. And it's still like one of the, well, it is our best vacation. And then, all of a sudden now I'm like, I'm really thinking about, and about, some of the places I've been to. I've been able to fill my entire passport. So there's not too many places where I haven't been, but there is a lot of places that I want to see when I'm not working. And so, Terry, one time I always asked her, and she said, I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Greece. So, in 10 days, we're going to Cabo. Basically earned a trip to production with my company. We're going there. I think it's, I don't remember, 5 days, 4 nights. But one of the top resorts in Cabo, they paid for everything. It's all inclusive. They gave us $2,000 for air flights and $2,000 spending money. And then all of a sudden, we hooked together with this company called Dream Trips, and they said the next vacation is it to Greece. And all I got to do is do what I always already do, is help other people live their dreams and live their imagination, get them to imagine again, get them to dream again, and then show them how we can make that happen. And so now all of a sudden it's like we're qualifying for this trip, and I'm gonna get that trip for free. And Terry and I are going to Greece in October. And I know this is a funny statement, but it's true. I can show you how to go with us. I can show you how to go with us and get that trip for free. And so yeah, the one thing that I wanted to share is that dreams do come true. Now all these dreams that I've had throughout my life, it was the only dream is funny. Sometimes we take the wrong path to our dreams, because I thought, wow, wouldn't it be neat to have all my family and friends see me in the winner's circle, a winner's circle of a big race, and my pager's going off. That shows how long ago this is. And I was able to do that. You know what I mean? It was funny. There's just so many things that have happened in my career and my life, where the more I dream, I always dreamt about, helping orphans, because there was a time that I was taken away from my parents when I was really young. And, I just thought, wow, when you're thinking you're being abandoned and passed home to home, it'd be neat to be able to be a voice and help those kids out. And I've been blessed to do that. And I'm just telling you, do you remember your dreams? And why did you put them on the shelf? Why did you think there's no way to be able to get them? Who told you that you can't have them? Maybe you just didn't stumble across it like I did. So I'd love to be able to help you. I have so many free videos on this YouTube channel and also on roberthollis.com. We're here to help you in every step of the way. I believe in you. And Melody Riba, thank you so much for being a super chatter and giving money so I can give it to the children. I love and appreciate you. Do me a huge personal favor, share this video and make sure to like it if you're not subscribed, and click on that bell. I try my best to do 1 or 2 videos a day. I'm here to help you. And I give you permission to succeed and be happy in life. My mentors did that for me. I was one of those guys that were constantly walking around looking for someone to give me permission to do what I knew I could do and trust myself. So have a great day, and love and appreciate you. And we'll see you soon on the next video. Bye for now.